Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt someone's energy without a single word spoken? Or had your mood change just by being around someone else? That's not magic. It's your brain's social radar at work. Welcome to Social Intelligence by Daniel Goleman, a groundbreaking book that reveals how our brains are wired to connect, how every relationship you have shapes your mind, and how understanding others is the key to understanding yourself. In this audiobook, you'll discover the hidden science behind human interaction, how love heals, how cruelty harms, and how every smile, glance, or silence can change your biology. Whether you're a parent, a partner, a leader, or simply human, this book will change the way you look at people forever. So plug in, tune in. Let's explore the new science of what it really means to be connected. Chapter 1. The Social Brain. Imagine this. You walk into a cafe. The person at the counter greets you with a warm smile. Instantly, you feel relaxed. You smile back without even thinking. But something much deeper than a smile just happened. Your brain and theirs connected, in real time. This is the power of the social brain. Daniel Goleman explains that our brains are not just built for thinking, they are built for relating. We are wired to connect. Inside our heads, special brain circuits light up when we interact with others. These circuits help us recognize emotions, feel empathy, and respond appropriately. Whether we're comforting a friend, sensing someone's anger, or feeling joy when someone laughs, our social brain is doing the work. One key player in this system is the mirror neuron. These neurons allow us to mirror what others feel, almost like we are experiencing it ourselves. That's why when you see someone cry, you might feel like crying too. Or why laughter spreads in a group. This brain-to-brain link happens fast, within milliseconds. It's automatic, often below conscious awareness. But it shapes how we feel, how we behave, and how others see us. Goleman also points out that the social brain isn't fixed. It grows and changes with experience. Warm, positive interactions strengthen it. Cold, hostile ones weaken it. This means our relationships are literally sculpting our brains every day. In modern life, we often focus on individual achievement or technology, but we forget something vital. Our brain functions best in connection with others. When we feel understood, our brain relaxes. Stress goes down. When we feel judged or ignored, our brain reacts like we're under threat. Cortisol, our stress hormone, rises. That's how much our well-being depends on relationships. In short, the social brain is like an emotional Wi-Fi system, constantly sending and receiving signals, helping us navigate the human world. Understanding this brain is the first step toward building stronger, healthier, more meaningful relationships. Chapter 2. The Broken Bond. Our brains are built to connect. But what happens when those connections are missing, damaged, or broken? In this chapter, Daniel Goleman explores one of the most painful truths about human relationships. When emotional bonds are broken, the effects go deep into our brains, our bodies, and our lives. From the moment we are born, we need connection. A newborn baby, unable to speak or walk, relies completely on emotional signals. A mother's smile, a father's touch, a caregiver's voice. These small interactions are not optional. They are essential to brain development. But when babies are neglected, abused, or ignored, their social brains suffer. Brain scans show that children raised in emotionally cold or unresponsive environments have underdeveloped brain regions, especially in areas that control emotion and empathy. This isn't just about childhood. Even in adults, loneliness, rejection, or emotional neglect can trigger powerful pain. In fact, emotional pain and physical pain activate similar areas of the brain. That's why heartbreak can feel like your chest is literally hurting. Goleman tells the story of people who grew up with broken bonds, adults who struggle to trust, love, or connect because of what happened long ago. For them, relationships may feel unsafe, confusing, or overwhelming. Their social brain was never given the chance to grow properly. He also shows that trauma in early relationships can make people overly sensitive to rejection or numb to emotion. These are not character flaws. They are biological scars. But there's hope. The social brain is plastic, which means it can change, even later in life. Healing comes through new, safe, and loving connections. Therapy, close friendships, and supportive communities can rebuild broken pathways in the brain. The key message of this chapter is powerful and simple. We need each other to survive, to grow, and to heal. When relationships go wrong, the damage is real. But when relationships go right, the healing is real too. So as we move forward, remember, behind every withdrawn child, every distant partner, or every angry voice, there may be a broken bond that needs understanding, not judgment. Because empathy begins where assumptions end. Chapter 3. Neural Wi-Fi. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt tension without anyone saying a word? Or felt a sudden sense of peace just by being near someone calm? That invisible emotional connection is what Daniel Goleman calls neural Wi-Fi. In this chapter, Goleman explains that every human interaction is more than words, much more. When two people face each other, their brains tune in like wireless signals. We send and receive tiny emotional cues through facial expressions, tone of voice, posture, eye contact, and even silence. And the brain picks up on these signals faster than we can think. This fast automatic process is what helps us sense how someone feels, without needing them to tell us. Here's how it works. Inside your brain is a group of neurons that respond not only to what you do, but also to what you see others doing. These are called mirror neurons, and they're the secret to empathy. When you see someone smile, your mirror neurons activate the part of your brain that handles smiling. Even if you don't move your face, your brain is already reacting. When someone yawns, you might yawn too. That's mirror neurons in action. It's almost like your brain is saying, "I feel you." Goleman compares this to a kind of wireless emotional syncing, like two smartphones automatically connecting through Bluetooth. That's neural Wi-Fi. But here's the important part. This Wi-Fi can work for or against us. If we are around someone joyful, we often start feeling more positive. But if we're around someone angry or anxious, their mood can infect us too. That's why being with a calm, compassionate person can help us relax, and why a tense meeting can leave us drained, even if no one raised their voice. Neural Wi-Fi is strongest in close relationships, between couples, friends, parents, and children. But it also happens in daily life, at work, in public, even on video calls. Goleman also notes that leaders, teachers, and parents have stronger impact because their emotions ripple outward to many people. This is called emotional contagion, and it spreads fast. What does this mean for us? It means that your presence matters. Your emotional state doesn't stay inside you. It radiates. You are constantly affecting others, and they're affecting you, even without words. So if you want better relationships, start by becoming more aware of your emotional signals. Tune in. Be present. Make eye contact. Listen deeply. Smile sincerely. Because in the end, we're not just exchanging words, we're exchanging energy. And neural Wi-Fi is the signal that keeps us all connected. Chapter 4. The Laughing Brain. What happens when two people share a laugh? It might seem small, a joke, a funny face, a giggle, but inside your brain, something big is happening. In this chapter, Daniel Goleman dives into how laughter is not just about humor, it's about bonding. Laughter is one of the oldest forms of human connection. Long before we developed language, our ancestors used laughter to show friendliness and safety. It was a signal. I'm not a threat. We're okay. And guess what? That still holds true today. When we laugh with someone, our brains release a burst of dopamine, the brain's feel-good chemical. Our bodies relax, stress hormones like cortisol go down, and we feel closer to each other. It's a social glue, a natural trust builder. Goleman explains that laughter activates many parts of the brain at once, those that control emotion, rhythm, memory, and understanding others. It's like a workout for the social brain. But here's the magic. Laughter is contagious. Just hearing someone laugh can make you smile, even if you don't know what they're laughing about. That's because of those mirror neurons we learned about earlier. When someone laughs, your brain picks up the signal and starts to feel what they feel. It's empathy, served with a smile. Goleman also explains that people who laugh together build stronger rapport. That's the invisible sense of connection, ease, and trust between people. In relationships, in teams, even in therapy, humor helps people feel safe and open. But not all laughter is equal. There's warm laughter, which builds closeness. Then there's mocking or cruel laughter, which creates distance and shame. The brain knows the difference. Real, shared laughter, based on joy, not judgment, is powerful. It says, we're on the same wavelength. Even in difficult times, laughter can lighten the emotional load. It doesn't mean we ignore pain. It means we remember our shared humanity through it. Goleman highlights how laughter is especially important in relationships. Couples who laugh together tend to stay together. Friends who can joke about life's troubles often cope better. And even in workplaces, leaders who can bring healthy humor create more relaxed, creative environments. So what does this teach us? That joy is not just a personal emotion, it's a social skill. Laughter helps us connect, diffuse tension, and strengthen bonds. And the best part? It's free, universal, and needs no translation. In a world full of stress and seriousness, the ability to laugh with others is a gift for your brain, your health, and your heart. Chapter 5. The Dark Triad. Not all people use social intelligence for good. Some use it to manipulate, deceive, and control. In this eye-opening chapter, Daniel Goleman introduces a troubling reality. There are individuals who seem charming on the outside, but their intentions are dangerous. These people often possess what psychologists call the dark triad. It's a group of 3 harmful personality traits: narcissism, Machiavellianism, psychopathy. Let's break them down. 1. Narcissism. It's all about me. Narcissists are often self-centered and crave attention. They might seem confident or even inspiring at first, but deep down, they lack real empathy. They don't care how others feel, only how others see them. They love praise, avoid blame, and struggle to take responsibility for mistakes. In relationships, they may appear caring at first, but over time, their need to dominate or be admired overpowers true connection. 2. Machiavellianism. I'll do whatever it takes. Named after the philosopher Machiavelli, this trait refers to people who use manipulation as a strategy. They are cold, calculating, and often play games to get what they want, whether it's power, control, or money. They lie easily. They pretend to care. They know how to read the room. But they use that information to exploit, not to connect. This is a dangerous form of social intelligence, clever but cruel. 3. Psychopathy. I feel nothing. The most extreme trait of the 3. Psychopaths lack guilt, remorse, or emotional connection. They may appear calm, even charming, but they are emotionally detached from others' suffering. Some may become criminals. Others may rise in business or politics, charming and fearless, but entirely self-serving. They can hurt others without blinking, because for them, there's no emotional cost. Why it matters. You might be wondering, why study these dark traits in a book about social intelligence? Because recognizing them protects you. People with dark triad traits are often skilled at social performance. They know how to fake empathy. They use charm, flattery, and persuasion to gain trust, then use that trust for their own gain. Goleman emphasizes that not all difficult people are dark, and not everyone with these traits is evil. But when these behaviors become a pattern, and when others are being emotionally, mentally, or financially harmed, it's time to set boundaries and walk away. What to watch for? Too much charm, too fast, a need to dominate or control, lies, excuses, and blame shifting. No real empathy or concern when someone is hurt. The social brain can be misused. This chapter reminds us, social intelligence is a neutral tool. It can be used for connection or manipulation, for love or control. True social intelligence includes empathy, ethics, and care for others. Without those, it becomes a weapon. So be aware, be wise, and remember, the most powerful social skill is knowing when to protect yourself. Chapter 6. The Bully's Pulpit. We often think of bullies as kids on a playground, but bullying doesn't stop with childhood. It grows up, and sometimes it gets promoted. In this chapter, Daniel Goleman explores how people in positions of power, like bosses, teachers, political leaders, or even parents, can use their influence to humiliate, control, or emotionally damage others. This is what he calls the bully's pulpit. How social cruelty works. The social brain is highly sensitive to dominance and threat. When someone yells at us, mocks us in front of others, or gives us that cold, silent stare, it lights up the same brain circuits as physical pain. Yes, emotional pain is real pain. It triggers stress hormones like cortisol, increases heart rate, and can even damage immune health over time. Now imagine this happening every day, in a workplace, in a classroom, or in a relationship. Goleman shows how social cruelty in powerful positions does more harm than we realize. It doesn't just hurt feelings. It damages brains. It crushes creativity. It spreads fear. And it teaches others that cruelty is acceptable. The corporate bully. In offices, some managers or leaders use intimidation instead of inspiration. They might shout, criticize in public, or take credit for others' work. They might lead through fear, not trust. This kind of toxic environment destroys team morale, increases employee turnover, and reduces performance. People don't do their best work when they're scared. They do their best work when they feel safe, respected, and valued. The classroom bully. Sadly, even in schools, some teachers use humiliation as control. A sarcastic comment, a public scolding, an unfair punishment. Goleman explains that students exposed to emotional abuse from authority figures often lose motivation and confidence. Their brains shift into survival mode, not learning mode. The family bully. At home, emotional bullying can take the form of silent treatment, insults, threats, or controlling behavior. When this comes from a parent, partner, or elder, it wounds deeply. The victim may feel trapped, confused, or emotionally numb. Why do bullies thrive? Goleman says that often, bullies rise in power because they appear confident, act aggressively, and don't hesitate to take control. In certain cultures or systems, this gets mistaken for strong leadership. But real strength comes from empathy, fairness, and emotional intelligence, not intimidation. Breaking the cycle. The good news? Awareness is power. Goleman encourages us to recognize toxic behavior, support victims, speak up when safe to do so, lead by example, with kindness and fairness. Even one emotionally intelligent person in a group can begin to shift the entire culture. The takeaway. The bully's pulpit is a warning. It shows how social power without empathy becomes dangerous. It harms not just individuals, but teams, families, and societies. But with awareness, courage, and compassion, we can stand up to cruelty and build environments where respect, not fear, is the foundation of all relationships. Chapter 7. Beloved. What does it mean to be truly loved? To feel seen, accepted, and cherished just as you are? In this chapter, Daniel Goleman explores the deep healing power of love. Not just romantic love, but any form of love that makes us feel emotionally safe and deeply connected, like the bond between close partners, parents and children, or lifelong friends. He shows that love is not just an emotion, it's a biological experience that changes the way our brains and bodies work. Love and the brain. When we feel loved and secure, our brain releases oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone or love chemical. Oxytocin creates a sense of warmth, trust, and emotional closeness. It calms the stress response, lowers blood pressure, and strengthens the immune system. In other words, love is medicine. It helps us think more clearly, sleep better, and even recover faster from illness. That's the power of being beloved. Emotional safety. One of the most important gifts of love is emotional safety. It's the feeling that you can be yourself, flaws and all, and still be accepted. You don't have to perform. You don't have to fear rejection. When a relationship offers this kind of safety, it becomes a secure base. From this base, people can grow, explore, and become their best selves. Goleman explains that this secure attachment, especially if formed early in life, becomes the foundation for emotional resilience. But even adults who didn't experience safe love as children can still find healing through new loving relationships. Small moments matter. Being beloved doesn't always mean grand gestures. It often shows up in small, everyday interactions. A warm hug, a gentle look of concern, a hand held during tough times, simply being present when someone needs you. These moments tell the brain, you are not alone, you are valued. Goleman points out that when these loving interactions happen consistently, they literally shape the brain, building stronger emotional circuits and creating a lasting sense of well-being. When love is missing. On the other hand, relationships that lack love, those filled with coldness, criticism, or neglect, can create long-term damage. People may feel unworthy, anxious, or constantly afraid of losing others. This is why love is not a luxury, it's a necessity. We are wired for it. Without it, the social brain suffers. What it means to be beloved. To be beloved is to be held in someone's heart, to feel safe, seen, and supported, to know that your joy matters to someone, and so does your pain. This chapter reminds us that we all carry the power to offer this kind of love. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present, kind, and emotionally attuned. And sometimes, simply being there for someone, in silence or with words, is the most powerful form of social intelligence. The takeaway. Love is more than a feeling. It is a biological force that nourishes our minds, heals our hearts, and strengthens every relationship we have. To be beloved is to thrive. And to help someone else feel beloved, that's one of the highest gifts we can offer. Chapter 8. Passionate Attachments. Love can lift us, or it can leave us aching. It can make us feel alive, or leave us confused and lost. Why is romantic love so powerful, and sometimes so painful? In this chapter, Daniel Goleman explores what he calls passionate attachments, the intense emotional bonds we form in romantic relationships. These bonds are not just about physical attraction or emotional closeness. They are often shaped by something much deeper, our early life experiences and the way our brains are wired to connect. Love and the attachment system. Our need for connection begins in childhood. The way we bonded with our caregivers, whether we felt safe, ignored, or emotionally abandoned, creates a blueprint in our minds. This is known as attachment style, and it continues to influence how we love as adults. Goleman explains 3 main types of attachment. Secure attachment. These people feel comfortable with closeness. They trust easily and can handle intimacy without fear. Anxious attachment. These people crave love, but often fear losing it. They may worry constantly about their partner's loyalty or need constant reassurance. Avoidant attachment. These people fear emotional closeness. They often push others away or feel uncomfortable when someone gets too near. None of these styles are good or bad. They're survival strategies the brain developed early on to protect us emotionally. But in romantic relationships, they can lead to misunderstanding, conflict, or deep emotional pain. Why passion feels so intense. Romantic love activates the brain's reward system, flooding it with dopamine, the same chemical linked to pleasure and addiction. That's why being in love can feel euphoric, and losing it can feel like withdrawal. Passionate attachments can quickly turn obsessive when fear, insecurity, or unresolved emotional wounds enter the picture. We might mistake anxiety for love. We may feel desperate to hold on to someone who isn't good for us, just to avoid being alone. Goleman shows that these patterns are not about weakness. They're about wiring. Repeating emotional patterns. Have you ever noticed that you keep ending up in the same kind of relationship or reacting the same way during fights? That's your social brain repeating familiar emotional scripts, even if they don't serve you well. Passionate attachments often trigger deep, hidden emotions, like fear of abandonment, need for control, or old pain from childhood. Unless we become aware of these patterns, we may repeat unhealthy dynamics without realizing it. Healing through awareness. The good news? These patterns can change. The brain is plastic. That means it can rewire through new experiences and emotional insight. When we find a loving, stable partner, or go through therapy, or grow emotionally, we can learn to form healthier attachments. We can learn to trust, to calm our fears, and to give love without losing ourselves. Passion doesn't have to mean chaos. Real love can be exciting and safe at the same time. The takeaway. Passionate attachments are powerful because they tap into our deepest emotional needs and our deepest fears. Understanding your own attachment style helps you love better and more consciously. And recognizing someone else's emotional patterns helps you be more patient, empathetic, and clear about what you truly need in a relationship. Because love isn't just about chemistry, it's about knowing yourself and building something that lasts. Chapter 9. Nurturing. What makes a person feel truly cared for? Not just loved, but nurtured. In this chapter, Daniel Goleman explores the quiet yet powerful force of nurturing relationships, where kindness, emotional presence, and steady support help someone feel seen, safe, and strong. Nurturing is more than a kind act. It's a way of being with others that helps them grow emotionally, heal from pain, and become more resilient. And just like water and sunlight help a plant grow, nurturing helps the brain flourish. The science behind nurturing. Our brains are shaped by our relationships. When we are around someone who is calm, kind, and patient, our brain responds. It reduces stress hormones like cortisol and boosts feel-good chemicals like oxytocin and serotonin. These changes strengthen the parts of the brain responsible for emotion regulation, empathy, and decision-making. In other words, nurturing literally builds emotional intelligence in children and adults alike. The parent-child bond. Goleman gives special attention to the role of parents and caregivers. When a child is consistently nurtured, with affection, encouragement, and gentle correction, they develop a secure emotional foundation. They learn to trust, to express feelings, and to face challenges with confidence. Even small moments, a parent listening closely, offering a hug, or comforting tears, send a powerful message to the child's brain. You are safe. You matter. Children who lack nurturing may grow up feeling anxious, defensive, or emotionally disconnected. But the good news is, nurturing can repair and rebuild, even later in life. Adult relationships and emotional support. Nurturing doesn't stop with childhood. In adult relationships, between partners, friends, siblings, or mentors, nurturing creates emotional security. We all have moments of stress, failure, grief, or fear. In those moments, a nurturing relationship doesn't try to fix everything. Instead, it offers presence, patience, and emotional warmth. Goleman shares stories of people who turned their lives around because one person believed in them, stayed beside them, or gave them space to cry and heal. The power of gentle attention. Nurturing isn't loud. It's not dramatic. It's the quiet power of being fully present when someone else needs you. Listening without interrupting. Offering kindness without expecting anything back. Gently guiding without controlling. These behaviors activate the brain's soothing system. They reduce fear, they build trust, and they help people become their truest, healthiest selves. Nurturing as a way of life. Goleman explains that nurturing is a practice, one we can choose, even in a world that feels rushed or cold. It requires emotional awareness, patience, and often selflessness. But when we nurture others, we nurture ourselves too. Kindness, compassion, and connection improve our own mental and physical health. The takeaway. Nurturing is not just something parents do for children. It's a gift we can offer to anyone who is hurting, growing, or simply human. In a world full of noise and pressure, being a nurturing presence is an act of quiet strength. Because sometimes, what heals us most is simply being held in someone's care. Chapter 10. Social Medicine. What if healing wasn't just about medicine, but about people? What if your relationships had the power to strengthen or weaken your immune system? In this powerful chapter, Daniel Goleman shows us something surprising yet deeply human. Relationships can heal. They can calm the body, ease the mind, and protect us against disease. This is the science of social medicine. The link between connection and health. For decades, doctors focused mostly on biology, on treating the body like a machine. But modern science is revealing a deeper truth. Emotions, stress, and social bonds directly affect physical health. When you feel lonely, rejected, or chronically stressed, your body reacts. Stress hormones like cortisol surge. Your heart rate increases. Inflammation rises. And over time, this leads to weakened immunity, high blood pressure, and even heart disease. But when you're surrounded by caring people, friends, family, even kind strangers, your brain releases chemicals like oxytocin and endorphins. These chemicals reduce stress, lower inflammation, and promote healing. Warm human connection literally boosts your body's ability to repair itself. Touch, empathy the nervous system. Goleman shares stories of patients who recovered faster simply because someone held their hand, listened to them, or made them laugh. Touch is one of the most powerful healing tools we have. A gentle hand on the shoulder, a warm hug, or even a smile activates the body's calming system, known as the parasympathetic nervous system. This slows down heart rate, improves digestion, and strengthens the immune system. It's not magic, it's biology driven by connection. The doctor-patient bond. In hospitals, the tone of a nurse's voice or the warmth of a doctor's face can deeply impact how a patient recovers. One study found that patients who felt emotionally supported by their healthcare providers healed faster and experienced less pain. Medicine isn't just about pills and procedures. It's about how human beings treat each other in moments of vulnerability. When doctors and nurses bring compassion, not just knowledge, they become part of the cure. Loneliness is dangerous. Loneliness isn't just sad, it's toxic. People who are socially isolated are more likely to suffer from depression, heart disease, Alzheimer's, and even premature death. Why? Because chronic loneliness keeps the body in a state of low-level stress, weakening the immune system day by day. It's like your body always thinks it's under threat, because your brain knows you're alone. That's why relationships aren't just emotionally nourishing, they are life-saving. Social prescriptions. Goleman calls for a new way of thinking. What if doctors could prescribe not just medicine, but connection, time with family, support groups, volunteering, pet companionship, emotional therapy? All of these can create healing environments where the body responds more positively to treatment. Imagine if healthcare systems around the world began treating loneliness the way they treat diabetes or high blood pressure, with urgency and compassion. The takeaway. Social medicine isn't a theory. It's a fact. Human connection heals. Being cared for and caring for others can reduce pain, improve recovery, and extend life. Whether you're a doctor, a family member, or simply a friend, never underestimate your power to be medicine for someone else. In the end, the most advanced healing technology may be our own hearts, open, present, and full of empathy. Chapter 11. The Business Brain. What really makes someone a great leader? Is it intelligence, ambition, charisma? Daniel Goleman reveals something deeper, something often overlooked: social intelligence. In today's fast-paced, competitive world, success in business isn't just about what you know. It's about how well you understand people, manage relationships, and build emotional trust. This is the power of the business brain, a brain wired for empathy, influence, and collaboration. Why IQ alone isn't enough. Traditional workplaces once focused only on IQ, logic, analysis, and knowledge. But Goleman shows that the best performers have something more: Social intelligence. They read the room. They sense tension. They know when to push, when to listen, and when to lead with kindness. In short, they know how to make people feel seen, heard, and valued. The emotionally intelligent leader. Great leaders create emotionally healthy workplaces. They are not driven by ego or fear, but by awareness, empathy, and clear communication. Goleman explains that such leaders stay calm under pressure, listen deeply, inspire trust, give honest yet respectful feedback, create a safe space for ideas and innovation. This is not soft leadership, it's smart leadership, grounded in neuroscience. Why? Because emotions are contagious. When a leader is stressed and reactive, their team feels it. But when a leader is centered and connected, the team performs better, with less burnout and more creativity. Mirror neurons in the workplace. Our brains have mirror neurons. They reflect the emotions of others. If a coworker is anxious, we feel it. If a manager is encouraging, we absorb that energy too. This is why workplace culture is shaped not just by policies, but by people's moods and behaviors. Leaders and coworkers who are emotionally intelligent raise the performance of everyone around them. Hiring, firing, and team building. Goleman also shares how businesses benefit from hiring people with strong social skills, not just technical talent. People who are good listeners, collaborative, self-aware, conflict resolvers, motivating to others. These qualities create high-functioning teams and healthier workplaces. And when managers handle discipline or feedback with compassion and clarity, it leads to growth, not resentment, profits, productivity, and people. Here's the surprising part. Companies with emotionally intelligent leaders are more profitable. Why? Because teams work better together. Employees stay longer. Clients feel more valued. Stress levels stay lower. Innovation goes up. Goleman uses real-world studies to show how emotional and social intelligence drive long-term business success, not just short-term results. Training the business brain. The good news? These skills can be learned and practiced. Through mindfulness, coaching, self-reflection, and honest conversations, leaders and teams can build greater empathy, stronger relationships, better emotional balance. This is not just good for business, it's good for people. The takeaway: the business brain isn't just about numbers and logic. It's about understanding the emotional fabric of the workplace. The most successful professionals are not just smart, they are socially smart. They uplift others, resolve tension, and create space where people feel connected and capable. Because in the business world, and in life, relationships are the real bottom line. Chapter 12. The Civic Brain. Imagine a society where people actually listen to each other, where leaders lead with empathy, where communities support, not compete with, each other. In this final chapter, Daniel Goleman introduces the idea of the civic brain, our brain's capacity to connect beyond personal relationships, to care about the greater good, and to shape society through compassion and shared responsibility. Beyond the individual, thinking collectively. We usually think of intelligence as personal. What's in it for me? How do I feel? How do I win? But the civic brain looks at the bigger picture. How do we live together? How can my actions support others? This is social intelligence at scale, where emotional awareness and empathy go beyond one-on-one interactions and influence how communities, governments, and nations operate. Empathy in politics and leadership. Goleman explores how political systems often ignore the emotional needs of people. But when leaders listen to citizens, understand their struggles, and respond with care, societies become more united and resilient. Good governance isn't just about policies. It's about trust. And trust is built through human connection. A truly democratic society, Goleman says, needs leaders with a high level of social intelligence. Leaders who can see different perspectives, handle disagreements respectfully, encourage participation, not division, put people before power, the power of the everyday citizen, It's not just leaders who shape society. We all do. Every interaction we have, every word we speak, every gesture of kindness or cruelty sends ripples through the social fabric. Whether you're helping a neighbor, volunteering, voting, or just listening with compassion, your brain is participating in something larger, building a better world. This is the civic brain in action, from neighborhoods to nations. Research shows that communities with strong social bonds, where people know and support each other, are healthier, safer, and even wealthier. Kids do better in school. Crime rates drop. Mental health improves. People live longer. Why? Because belonging and trust reduce stress and make people feel emotionally secure. From local clubs to online communities, when people feel connected, they are less likely to act with aggression and more likely to cooperate. The role of self-awareness in society. Goleman explains that to create socially intelligent communities, individuals must first be self-aware. Ask yourself, am I reacting with empathy or ego? Do I judge others too quickly? How can I be a better listener, even with those I disagree with? When enough people ask these questions, change begins. Not from the top down, but from the inside out. Creating a culture of connection. What if we taught social intelligence in schools? What if empathy was valued as much as math or science? What if media focused more on understanding than conflict? Goleman believes that by raising our collective emotional awareness, we can reduce prejudice and hate, solve problems with unity, not blame, build policies that care for people, not just profits. The takeaway: the civic brain reminds us that we are all connected. Our communities, cities, and nations thrive not just on infrastructure, but on compassionate human relationships. Whether you're a teacher, a business person, an activist, or a parent, your ability to understand and uplift others shapes the world around you. Because in the end, a socially intelligent society is a stronger, kinder, and more just society. Epilogue: the social good. After everything we've explored about the brain, emotions, empathy, and relationships, Daniel Goleman leaves us with a powerful message. Social intelligence is not just personal. It's our path to a better world. From brain science to human kindness. What we've learned through science is amazing. That our brains are built to connect. That we are emotionally wired to respond to each other. That even tiny moments, like a smile, a kind word, or patient listening, can change someone's biology. But knowledge is not enough. What matters most is what we do with it. Building a kinder, wiser world. Goleman calls us to action, not in grand gestures, but in daily human interactions. He invites us to be more aware of others' feelings, show compassion in difficult moments, build trust, not walls, choose understanding over judgment. These small choices, multiplied across families, workplaces, and nations, can heal division, reduce suffering, and increase joy. The ripple effect of goodness. Social intelligence has a ripple effect. One act of empathy inspires another. One moment of patience prevents an argument. One leader with emotional wisdom can transform a company, or even a country. Each of us holds that power. Each of us can create the social good. A new kind of strength. In a world that often rewards competition, speed, and status, Goleman reminds us of a deeper kind of strength. The strength to listen, even when it's hard. The strength to care, even when we're tired. The strength to lead with heart, not just logic. That is real power. That is human power. The final takeaway. We are not alone. Our brains, our hearts, our biology, all tell the same story. We are made to connect. And by embracing that truth, with intention, empathy, and care, we can build not just better lives, but a better world. Social intelligence isn't just science, it's hope.